I got Michael Thomas up, which is another guy the Ballers had discussed a little bit on their most recent episode, or the look back stats one, the annual must listen every year. So Michael Thomas, I mean, he averaged just 12 points per game in PPR this season, almost half the points per game he averaged last year. Touchdowns are really troublesome. The uncertainty at the quarterback position, the unknown identity of the Saints offense in the short term post Drew Brees, definitely is causing us to have some debates about Michael Thomas. But my question would be, is it going too far? Like, how do you see this offseason kind of playing out for the Saints, Mike? And do you think Michael Thomas can overcome some of these obstacles and get back to elite status, or is he going to be more of a back-end wide receiver one going forward?
Sure. Michael Thomas, you guys are right. You're bringing up very difficult players to gauge, especially when you're talking about these are elite players and
guys we want to get right.
You got to get it right. If you're spending a first-round pick, you better be sure. So there was Michael Thomas, the season it's very difficult to dissect because, I mean, Drew Brees was gone for a lot of the season. My hunch is Drew Brees will be gone. So I am treating the offseason like Drew Brees is going to retire, that he might shock everyone and come back. I'm not saying that I'm not burying Drew Brees from returning. I hope he doesn't return. I think that it'd be better for him to be done because it's
legacy-wise. Yeah.
Like he's still accurate, but I don't know, man. I watched Peyton Manning go from like throwing 50 touchdowns into a dude who could not throw the ball at all. It just, when it's done, it's done. But Michael Thomas was seriously hurt, and he forced his way back onto the field. And you know that now with a surgery, and they were clearly managing Michael Thomas the best that they could, but he was just very, very hurt. And look, ladies and gentlemen, look yourself in the face, look into the mirror, and imagine you have one of these injuries. Now imagine just walking. Just walking. That's all you got to do is go. You got to take your dog out for a walk. This guy's on an NFL field, and he's hurt. And you imagine how much you'd be complaining with this guy's injury if you had to walk your dog? You'd be like, kids, I can't do it today. And meanwhile, Michael Thomas is over here on an NFL field catching passes from Taysom Hill. I mean,
running slants.
Yeah. I'm fine with the slants. Michael Thomas is a good wide receiver.
Me too.
Look at go ahead. Please go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, Drew Brees has almost warped our perception of Michael Thomas. Like, I think it's unfair to try and proclaim what Michael Thomas might not be able to do, because we've really only seen him in this very low average depth of target offense where he's the go-to guy and needs to be within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage on every third down, you know?
Yeah, it's a difficult thing when you're like, yeah, but Michael Thomas he's been so great because he had a Hall of Fame elite quarterback. You're like, what else is he supposed to do?
Yeah,
is he supposed to be bad? What do you want from the man? Like, get over yourself. That's a really strange argument to go to.
I don't even think it's the right one either. Like, we've seen 10 games without Drew Brees for Michael Thomas in his career. He averages 18.7 points per game in PPR, which is more than 18.5 with Drew Brees. So I think we should be more worried about this offense going even further towards that, run heavy style that we've seen them transform into under Drew Brees' aging tenure here. But I'm not too worried about who the quarterback is. I'm more worried about how this offense looks and if it is Taysom Hill.
Sure. So 2 games. So Michael Thomas comes back. He's got 2 games. He's still hurt. It's really bad. And then he jumps into a 4-game stretch, which to me a 4-game stretch is, I'm okay taking a look at that because they play 16 games. That's 25%. 4 games sounds like a really small sample. That's because the NFL season is a very small sample. So unfortunately, we get a small sample, and then we just look at smaller and smaller and smaller samples. But that's all we can do. But he had, after those first 2 games, 4 games, a target pace of 148 targets for a 16-game season, and now we're moving to a 17-game season. But 16 games, 120 receptions, over almost 1,400 yards. Like, he was still good. He's not the number 1 guy anymore. He may not even be a top 3 guy anymore, but do not throw dirt on Michael Thomas yet. That would be an absolute mistake for you to do that.
Yeah, like if you look at some of that too, like the market share was off the charts, the weighted opportunity, all that, like obviously it will take a little bit of a hit, like it's less valuable in the Saints offense than it might be in other offenses. But yeah, I had a 6-game stretch here from Michael Thomas weeks 9 to 14. And I think it does almost capture perfectly what our expectations might be going forward. And like you said, he was hurt and he was outscored by Nuke. Like Nuke was the wide receiver 7 weeks 9 to 14. Just 2.5 fantasy points ahead of Michael Thomas in PPR. Actually, Nuke, Justin Jefferson, Allen Robinson, and Juju all barely outscored Michael Thomas over those 6 weeks when he was scoring as a top 12 wide receiver. Just the touchdowns I'm worried about.
Sure. And yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be the guy. I don't know if it's going to be Taysom. I don't know if it'll be Jameis, and I don't know if it'll be somebody else. Like if you're in Vegas and you're throwing down on the odds, I mean, they're talking up Jameis recently, so it seems like he would be the favorite for the job. But honestly, I don't know. But like Kyle Shanahan, I believe in Sean Payton, the offensive mind, to figure out whoever it is. I think he'll figure it out and get it done. He means like they were winning. Going with Taysom Hill was a heavily criticized move by this guy.
Yeah.
And if you just have audio on, I am pointing directly to myself. I thought it was the stupidest thing that I had ever seen in the NFL. And Taysom Hill, I don't know what his actual win-loss was, but he won most of his games.
Yeah.
I think I think they've only lost once or twice without Drew Brees over the last, like in those 10 games that Michael Thomas has played without Drew Brees. I think they were undefeated until the last or the 9th or 10th game there. It's crazy. Mac Jones for life.
Yeah,
there's
some
Jones
talk
guy.
Because, well, if you think about it, like this is my whole debate with Michael Thomas will be how mobile is that quarterback, because obviously Sean Payton can really unleash a pretty weaponized offense with a mobile quarterback. And, if it is someone like Mac Jones who's a statue, I think that'll really help someone like Michael Thomas, no matter how bad Mac Jones might be in year one.
Good point. Yeah. I am still in the camp that I hope it's Jameis because I want to see Sean Payton.
My dynasty team really wants that to happen.
Yeah.
Preach, brother, preach.
I just want to see how they afford Jameis.
I just sit with Jameis on my bench for an entire year, just clocking, knowing he's going to do nothing.
Same. Drafting him way too high in Superflex startups just for that hope that he's going to be throwing YOLO balls up there. So I want to see the Sean Payton offense morph myself, and I want to see it with Jameis throwing balls to Michael Thomas because I think that could be good for Michael Thomas and even those touchdowns, like you said, Ty.